Yes, it's John G. Sutton. Tales from the jails. I talk today a little bit about a really sad event. I'm sure we'll all be very sad to hear this. That the serial killer who was serving lifetimes 3 in HM Prison, Edinburgh, has died in hospital. That's tragic, isn't it? Yeah. His name was Peter Tobin, and he'd killed 3 ladies. 23-year-old Angelica Gluck, who was a Polish student in there, killed her and buried her remains under the floor of a church. She was subsequently found some years later. He murdered 15-year-old Vicky Hamilton and 18-year-old Dinah McNichol, and he buried them in his back garden down in, I think it was down south. I'll show you a photograph of these 3 victims of this serial killer. There we are. Can you see that? Those are his 3 victims. And he's died in his mid-70s of natural causes, I believe, in Edinburgh, where he was serving lifetimes 3 in Her Majesty's Prison, or His Majesty's Prison as it is now, Edinburgh. And I'm sure that we all wish him a speedy return to where he came from, the fiery pits of hell. See, these serial killers, they seem to have this idea that they are special, that they're something unique. They don't fit into society, so what they've got to do to make their mark is murder people. People like Ian Brady, he thought he was something special. Have a look at his book. Don't have a look at his book, take it from me. It's an excuse for his evil crimes. It's called The 2 Faces of Janus. Yeah, well, he hadn't got 2 faces, had he? He got 1 face, an evil, wicked, low-life, uneducated scumbag. And Brady did think he was something special. Yeah, well, he wasn't very special when he was on D-Wing, was he? Because they grabbed him, stuck him in the recess, and poured boiling water all over his head. Now, that shouldn't be allowed, should it? So I think today we should say a little prayer for all the serial killers who have gone before us. Well, they've gone before me. I shan't be following them, because they're on the path to hell. Hellfire and damnation. That's where I believe they're going. I do sincerely believe that they will be taken into the nether regions. I remember the serial killer called Peter Cook, the Goit Valley murderer, threatened to kill me. Said if it took 20 years, he'd come back and murder me. He died in prison, just like Peter Tobin. So, if you're having a drink tonight, have a drink to the angels that took Peter Tobin to hell, because that is most certainly where he will be. Now, don't forget, on the 7th of November, I will be on the Q&As with Sean Atwood. First of all, they're going to 6 o'clock. He's going to be screening my interview with him, a 2-hour interview, and following that, at approximately 8:30 in the evening, I will be with Sean Atwood discussing the broadcast and my new book, by the way, which I sincerely hope you're going to purchase. Get it into the top 10 of Amazon. It's called HMP Manchester Prison Officer by John G. Sutton. Yeah. And that's been released on the 7th of November as well, so I hope that you're going to purchase that. Help me get it into the charts. Who knows? Now, I'm going to read you one of my poems. 1 or 2 rather nice comments I've been receiving on my poetry. And this is a poem that I wrote. Listen, I have to tell you straight. In a way, I didn't write this poem. It came into my head. My grandson had been born. He was my first grandson. And his name's Aaron. And about 2 or 3 weeks after he'd been born, I woke up one morning. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. And this poem was in my head. And I had to get up and write it. So I got up and came to my computer and typed it all out. And this is the poem that I wrote. Well, that was given to me. It's called Grandpa Grumps. Because my daughter said, well, now that you're a grandfather, what we're going to call you? Grandfather or Grandad or Pops? I said, no, I'm too keen on that. I mean, it's all right for lots of people, but I'd like to be called Grumps. Seriously. So, from that day to this, they call me Grumps. It was funny, my grandson growing up, I used to take him to the shops, and he'd shout, hey, Grumps, come and have a look at this. Grumps, can I? And everybody's looking around thinking, who the hell's Grumps? Yeah, it was just a bit of a joke anyway, but all the kids around here call me Grumps, There's a kid next door who's about 8 years old, he calls me Grumps. He doesn't know my other name. And my grandson Aaron actually thought that my name was Grumps until he was about 10 years old and he realised that nobody's actually called Grumps. It's just a nickname, yeah, just a joke. So this is the poem that came to me. And I've read this on BBC. I did a show for the BBC Radio Lancashire. I did a reading there of this, and it's Grandpa Grumps by John G. Sutton. I've just become a grandfather. My daughter gave birth to a lad, and suddenly all of me moaning has stopped, 'cause now I'm just glad. I used to think days were real hard like, all working and plodding away, just filling in time till me passing, but now, well, I'm planning to stay. Wife said, I've getting a smirk on. I'm laughing and chuckling at kid, watching him yelling and skriking, just like his mother once did. Now I see that this life's got a purpose, and all of them trials, hurts and bumps have turned into lessons I learned from on the road to Grandpa Grumps. But though I might be an old codger, grey hair, baldy patch and fat tum, to one little chap I'm still perfect, and that fellow, well, it's me grandson. You see, it's all down to perception. He sees not the signs of old age, but a person that offers affection, his very own jolly plump sage. I tell him tall tales of brave exploits, read nursery rhymes and sing songs. He sits on my knee and starts laughing, and never a day is too long. Dear God, let this boy live in freedom. Do not let his innocence spoil. As he faces this world and its troubles, may he find peace of mind, not just toil. Then one day when my song's but a memory, and he's travelled and wearing life lumps, God grant him a grandchild to cuddle. Then he too will be Grandpa Grumps. There you go. That's my poem. Tales from the Jails.